Welcome to Trading Lounge and the European indices for Tuesday, September the 20th. Just starting with the DAX here. One count possibly is this A wave over to here with an ABC for the B wave and up for the C wave to make B wave here. This would put this in line with the other global indices around the world. Okay, so I think it's something worth considering. The next move is that in global markets we're looking down for 1 and back for 2 here, and then we're also looking down for 1 and 2 here, and then 3, 4, 5s to move down further. So in a way the market has come down to the 13,000, which is a major trading level, and it's just sort of bounced along, but all the highs have become lower and lower. So eventually it will be trapped under the 13,000 if we've got this wave count right, and we'll end up seeing this move lower. So this little move down through here, we've been looking at it in two different ways, but looking at it on the EU, the FTSE EU ETF here, looking at it as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3, and yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here for wave 1. So that should put us back up into, well, this supply area up here for this, you know. It may not pull back up to, well, the 50-60% would be probably above that, really. So let's just have a bit of a look at that. Yeah, so there's 50%. So but I just don't know if I'll get up there, you know. Could surprise me, but obviously one of the things that we look at, or I look at, is that this block here is really the supply level, you know. That's where the most volume was turned over in that space, and that's where people will take action because people have shorted it there and all those sorts of things, and this will be an opportunity for them to get out because it's getting a little bit heated for them, all that sort of stuff. So we can look at this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up here. We could look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So we could see it just come back up into this area. So the other thing that we need to watch out for is that is it possible to have, this is the other count, and it's a valid count as well, because this would be wave 1 and 2 here, then wave 1 and 2. Because in the US stock market, we're seeing two different types of counts. The two counts that we're seeing are, we're seeing 5 waves to this point, things like Berkshire Hathaway, Microsoft, but then we're seeing stocks like the US banks having wave 1 here, 2 here, 1 here, 2 here. So it is possible that we could also have this section here coming back up into this 56%, 50, 60, 1.8%, and failing at that point. So that is a real possibility. So we can see that this is a little correction here. So this would be 1 and 2, and it might even be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it might even be a little bit more up there, but we could see something, there'll be obviously a bounce at that point, and then down. So we could see something like that, or we could see 1, 2, 3 here, and then 4 and 5 up here for the A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up here for that, and then come down here for that too. So they're the two things that we're tracking. And one of the news events that's coming up, of course, is the Feds with their rates on Wednesday. So maybe the markets will just sort of hang in some sort of bear market corrective rally until the Feds declare what they will be doing at that point. And, you know, if they do raise rates, you know, up, then, which they probably will, you know, so then it's like sort of buy the rumor, sell the fact situation, because the US dollar would push up and all the currencies would push down, along with all of these indices would also push down. So this may just linger up here for a little while. So an A wave to here, a B wave to here, and a C wave to here. So we'd have to need to be a little bit careful how we approach shorting the markets at this point. So I think just a little bit of patience with all of this. There's still plenty of time, you know, and when we get this, it will come down pretty quickly at this point. Probably on the Wednesday will be a good start for that. But anyway, that's just the ETF, and that's the little story of this move down through here. So now we're going to go to 100 ticks and have a look at it on this CFD platform, and bring in a bit more data. So in this instance, I've counted it I've counted it down as here as 1, 2, and then all the way down here for 3, 4, 5. Because that's possible. We could look at this as an A and a B and a C wave moving up here in the off hours. That's possible. We could also push this over here to an A wave over here. Normally as a wave 2 it would be a 5-3-5 structure. So the logical thing to do would be put this here, because it does look like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the wave A. So it could just push straight up to this point, hit this supply up at 13,000 and then just roll over from that point. So if the Feds were going to speak, they would either be seeing the top of the market here at one point, or the market would preempt what they were going to do and would come down and then have a 3-wave rally back at that point, and getting ready, set up for, you know, a nice strong gap to the downside at that point. So we'll check on it tomorrow. We'll just see where the wave count is tomorrow, and then we'll start talking about shorting this. You know, we just need a bit more information, because I don't know if this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, then a B wave back, and then a C wave up, and then down. So there's a couple of things that could play out here, and we need to gather a little bit more information. It's also possible to have this down as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. It can fail in this box, put it that way. Otherwise, it's going to climb up to, you know, the next supply level up here, and well, same supply levels, just that this one is at the lower end of it, and this one's at the upper end of it at this point. So that's what we're going to be looking at. So I don't think there's a big rush for anything at this particular point in time. Little 1, 2 here, and it's probably 1, 2, 3 in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for that. So then we'll see this come into play here for that, to finish off at that point. So it may drift at that point, you know, but that might just be, you know, that could also just be a wave up here. So we're just going to have to gather a bit more information before we I mean, this little correction is not really big enough for all of this. That little correction is big enough for this side here, if we looked at this as blue wave 1 over here and 2 here, so to speak. But it's going to struggle up here. Be careful what you do up here. Less is more, so a small amount and a wider stop is safer than a larger position with a tighter stop in this instance, because we've got the Feds there and everything else speaking on the Wednesday. This will be the same for the EUROSTOXX here as well. In this case here, I'm just, you know, like I said, with the US stock market, we can count this down as wave 1 and going back for wave 2. We could also look at it as wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and failing and going down at that point. So there's two different cases for all of this. Let's just, so for having 5 waves down, like we just here, this is Berkshire Hathaway here with 1 and 2. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave. Nice strong third wave. You have to agree with that, with a gap in it, always helps. And wave 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So in this case, we've got, you know, a nice 5-wave structure down. But the US banks are completely different. So the US banks have got 5 waves down here, and then they've got the A wave here, the B wave here, then 1 and 2, and 3, 4, 5. They need to push up here further. So selling this stock above 35 would be fine. You could also put the B wave over here, but this spike came through the markets, and I don't give spikes much credibility. I just follow the main traffic, the volume. But anyway, they're the two counts that I'm getting. So they're the two counts that, you know, this is giving us 5 waves down. Because if I looked at this as down for 1 and back for 2 and down for 1 and back for 2, we're already above the 61.8% mark from that high to that low there. So it doesn't add up. This is the best way to count this particular stock, and there's others like this. So there's 2 baskets of stocks in the market. So, you know, as I just mentioned, there's the we could put wave 1 here, so to speak, just to make it simple. and copy this one here for wave 2 here, or put wave 2 over there. So down for 1, back for 2, down for 1 and back for 2. But I think it counts better down as 5 waves, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, we'll see. I don't think there's anything that we need to do today or tomorrow with this. We just need to, because when patterns begin, at the beginning of them, it's like, is it this, is it this, is it that? And as it matures, it could only be these two. And then once it's matured, it's only that one left. So I think this is a case where we just need to chill and let it mature, and we'll be able to see it. But if we're young blood and impatient, well, then we're going to get burnt. But being young, you've got time to get burnt. So anyway, that's that one. And this is the FTSE. So it's the same thing again. So in this case, it's kind of like we could look at this as 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 here. But if it doesn't fail in the box and moves up here higher, then we have to look at all of this down here with the wave 4 here and wave 5 here to make this wave 1, and coming back up for wave 2 here, and look at this as wave A here and wave B here and wave C. Now that may not even plan out like this too. We may end up putting the wave A up here as well. So there's different ways we could look at this, and that's why we need to allow it to mature, because it could hang up here till Wednesday, until the Feds smoke their peace pipe and listen to the news on the wind, and then make their decision. So yeah, so we just need to be a little bit patient, I reckon. But obviously, if it breaks lower, then crazily lower, then we need to you need to be surfing that, because we'll be on that move to the downside. So over to the dollar and the currencies. It's a little bit tricky this here. I don't really have a grip on it, as I mentioned yesterday. I can see different things happening. I mean, this could drift down until Wednesday, and then it could just power straight up. All I can say is that you would need to have a long trade already set up on this high here for that, because it may not drift all the way down here. It might just drift down to support levels here, or just tad below and then push up. It'll happen fast, as it always does. But can we look at this as wave 1 up here? It's a little bit rough. We'd have to look at wave 1 in here somewhere, and then try to pick up wave 3 into here somewhere, and then wave 4 here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish it off, and then the A, the B, and the C back here. But if this, it would just seem right that they put the rates up, even though the stock market is going up at the moment, and this is pulling back here. It's basically, buy the rumor, sell the fact scenario. But it'd be logical for this to push higher, and the indices to push lower. That's in line with our wave count, so that kind of makes sense in a way. It's just that I don't have this as a beautiful impulse wave to the upside, and this also counts better as an impulse wave to the downside. So I was thinking that we could have it as wave A here, B here, and C down through to here somewhere, but I don't think that's going to be the case for a wave 4 here. In this case, probably have to end up putting wave 4 over here for that. So yeah, it's all a bit sort of iffy. I don't have a good grip on this at the moment. When we look at the euro here, this is going to follow the DAX in a way. So we're looking at the DAX as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here, and then the ABC back up here. So I'm thinking that's going to come down if on Wednesday or whenever they speak, and it may drift higher up here for all I know, so And then the pound here, that's been a little bit different. It's been much weaker. It's taken this low out here. So do we look at this as 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2 over here for this, or do we try to squeeze 5 waves out of this? leaves it a little bit short, and I have to push it. I have to leave this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 into here, and then 5. So I'm kind of like pushing it a bit, and I don't like doing that. But yesterday we talked about looking at this as an A and a B and a C going up here. So, you know, maybe that's the case, you know. I mean, what it does do now, it does leave us, we can bring this from the low here, we can bring it up under this low here. You probably want to bring it up a little bit further, because, you know, when a market comes down, it's only going to trap you, bounce, and then end up going down. So you need to understand how it migrates from being, you know, support to resistance at that point. And also always look over here too to see the closest largest number and work with that, and look for, you know, look for your basic shorting pattern, you know, across a particular price point for that. Could it come all the way back up here for this wave 4 here as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up here? Possibly. So yeah, I don't know. All I know is that we need to short. You need to remove this trade from here as well. We took out all the euro trades yesterday. So so we just need to short new lows. That's all. That's all I know. That's all I got for you. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. But let's just check on it tomorrow and see how the big bowl of jelly's wobbling with all the indices and the FX and everything else, and see if some of these patterns have matured a little bit. You know, for instance, this move up here, you know, it's not finished yet. But if it moves up here, it's got 5 waves up here, right? So it has 5 waves up here somewhere. And then we can see that it's got some sort of ABC correction here. Well, that means we would need to be long above that point, you know, but it also means we need to be short below this point. So we need these patterns to mature so we can actually get set up around them. That's all. I'm just using that as an example, but, you know. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.